Denver, Colorado. I am fired up to be back in your beautiful city. I'll be there Saturday, September 28th at the Oriental Theater. Chicago, Illinois. Coming to you via Route 66, y'all. I'll see y'all Saturday, October 12th at the Den. Get your tickets now on my website at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. And I'm going to start this episode like I start all of our episodes by saying thank you. For real. Thank you for whatever you do in any way you support anything I do, especially this show right here. Thank you for watching, subscribe, support the way back. And if you got to have more, then you got to have our Patreon. I am telling you, it is this show. It's called The HoneyDew with y'all, and it's this show with y'all, and y'all have the craziest stories I've ever heard in my life. We're doing a best of episode. We will drop it free here on the YouTube feed. You can watch some of the clips to see some of the madness and craziness that you're missing. It's $5 a month. That's it. It's been that way since the beginning, and it ain't going anywhere. It's $5 a month. You get hundreds of episodes. All right. And come see me on tour. If I'm in your town, when you're around, tickets are available on my website. Don't get them anywhere else. Just go to my website, get them there. That's where you'll get legit tickets. ryansickler.com for all tour dates. All right. That's the biz. You guys know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights, and I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I am very excited to have this guest here. First time on the HoneyDew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Farley.
Hey-o! How dooski? How are you, Ryan? All right.
Great
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you
me
here.
on.
Thank you for doing this.
Hell yeah.
Before we get into what we're going to talk about, please promote everything you'd like to promote. You got a movie?
Yes.
Talk about it.
The movie that I did, my buddy Grant Gary wanted to do a movie about grief. And I was like, go fuck yourself. I don't want to relive that. And I'm all done. But, you know, it's for other people that have recently lost or, you know, there's, and it's called Meet Me Where I Am. And so I went over to Grant's house. I said, fine. He's a buddy of ours that he did a play with my wife, one of those Sweeney Todd things. And I was there and I watched it. And I said, good job. And so we became friends. And then I went over to his house and sat down and he grilled me with questions like, how do you feel? And I'm like, go fuck yourself again. No, I listened. I tried to respond as best I could for he had some talented folks that really like know about grief. I don't know about grief. Fuck, I lived it. But I mean, so that's the thing. You don't have to be a doctor in grief to actually experience it, which sucks.
There's the other thing too. I struggle with this, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
I suffered plenty of grief.
Yeah.
You know, my father died when I was 16. I'm without parents the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And I have trouble verbalizing it.
Yeah.
I write jokes about it.
Yeah.
I make a podcast to laugh about
right.
it. I have trouble sitting down and feeling my feelings.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever really given a fuck about my feelings.
No.
I'm just a dude.
Exactly.
It's always, how are you doing? I'm good.
Right.
Not how are you feeling?
Right.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need to tell you anything else either. I don't need to feel my feelings.
No, exactly.
I get it.
We stuff our feelings in the Farley family with food and booze.
Yeah.
So
what made you say,
yes
I'll do it?
to it? My wife was like, just do it. And I'm like, all right, fine. So we went and I did it and it was good. And then I watched it at a couple film festivals I went to. And the guys that he had on it, there's one, who's that? Anthony Rapp, or he's the guy that did Rent. Rapp. All right. I think it's Anthony
I'm not
Rapp.
that cultural.
I don't either.
I don't like my information sung to me.
I don't either.
It's my least favorite way to receive. I'd rather you yell at me.
Me too.
Sing anything to me.
I can't. But they did that Rent thing. Rent movie. Rent.
No,
and the guy that did that died. So Anthony was on there explaining that one, and he delved into his grief, whereas I just tried to make jokes about it. Like me and my brothers would be like, who's going to get Chris's leather jacket? You know, silly, stupid stuff like that. Chris would be mad if you did that. He's watching you. And then there was one guy that was explained to, I don't know if he's a doctor or what he is, but he goes, one time somebody asked me, how long am I going to grieve for? And he says, well, how long is the person you know going to be dead? And like, so that's how long you'll grieve. I'm like, oh, well, that was a good way to explain it. So it's got some good, people that, there's another guy who got in a car wreck that his kid, didn't make it. But all his organs went off to other people, and then they all came together.
Oh, I can't. I see those videos where
Jesus.
the dad is hugging a girl who's like a marathon runner, and his daughter's heart's in her chest.
I was like,
I'm losing it. Like,
no shit. Isn't that crazy?
Talk about what I'm feeling.
I know. Oh my god.
My eyes are wet.
Kidding.
My nose burns.
Funny, nobody wanted Chris's organs. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thanks. I'll take. We have his eyes? No, can't have those. But not kidney? No. You don't want any of that.
How did you feel after doing it?
After doing it, it's always rough.
The rough part too is the ugly part for me would be in your shoes, having to then go watch myself do this.
Oh my god, I hated
it's the worst.
I was sitting in the
It's one thing to
theater.
be interviewed and do it and flush it and it's gone.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
not. Then you can decide if you're going to watch. Like, no offense to me or anything, you don't have to watch this show. You can decide later if you're going to watch this show.
I know.
When you're doing a panel or an interview, you got to sit there and watch that shit.
Holy shit!
Man.
I know at the film festival, the theater was,
and then you're starting to compare yourself to the other people. Like this
I
guy's
totally
got
did.
way
I
more
do
of a
that.
handle on grief.
Oh shit! You could hear a pin drop throughout the entire movie and
But I'll
tears
bet you
sniffling.
Everybody wanted to hear from
And they all laughed at mine. I'm like, grief is a bitch. And all of a sudden, bitch, because no one swore in the whole thing. And I was the only one that did even that. And they were all like, yay, funny guy. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I'm here because I don't know about grief. I don't know how to handle it. I know about grief. I don't know how to handle it, though. So I tried to make some bits or jokes, and I don't know. I'm sure he did cut out a lot of the stuff that people are like, I'm grieving and you're not making fun of my grief. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. That's all we do is we just literally even from the funeral on, we were trying to find bits to make laugh. What the people that say, how you doing? You're like, fuck.
Can I ask you this question?
Sure.
Prior to that,
Yeah.
was the Farley family the same way?
Yeah.
Did you lose grandparents or things like that where you're still just not feeling it?
Oh my God. I'll tell you the worst.
Because I also want to please do. I also want to know if Chris was the same way prior to him passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. Here's the worst one I did that just didn't go over at all. So my grandfather just died.
laughing.
It's the fucking worst.
It starts with my grandfather just
So my
died.
grandfather just died. And my brother Kevin's at the dining room table doing his homework. And I'm too young for homework, but I come up, I'm about 8, 9. I come up with one of those, remember the red sled? It was just a plastic sled, red long sled. I had put two pillows in there, and then I wrapped a sheet in there. And Kevin saw me going from the kitchen through the dining room into the living room, dragging this sled. And I went into my dad and I go, Dad, look, Grandpa, I got him.
How old are you at the
I'm
time?
fucking 8. And all of a sudden, oh my God. My dad goes, John, I don't think that's very funny. And I go, start crying. And I go away. And Kevin just dropped his pencil and goes, holy shit. What the fuck was that? And I go, I don't know. I was trying to make him laugh. You dragged a fucking sled through the house and said, look, Dad, it's Grandpa. I got him. And I was like, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Okay, wait, one more time. The name of the movie again?
Name of the movie is Meet Me Where I Am.
All right. Meet Me Where I Am.
And it's got train tracks on it. It's blue and it's...
Where can they see it?
They can see it anywhere.
All
Amazon, you've got... it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. No. It's on Amazon. Apple.
Anywhere you can get movies.
Yeah, we'll give you the link to
Yes,
all the
please.
spots that it's playing in a lot of different. He showed it to me. It's a lot, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good pretty good movie that it'll help you guys with grief.
Well, I want to talk to you about it because I was saying, like, this is the interview I would want to do with you. Is I know your brother's Chris Farley, and Chris is just a comedic icon.
Yeah.
And even Sandler just had a special come out, but his last one, he did the whole song about your brother. And I'm balling. I'm balling.
That
I'm
song
balling.
gets me every time.
I'm balling.
Yeah.
And it's been how many years now since Chris has passed?
Was it
97?
97.
So we had
I don't know what that
2007, 17, 27 years.
27. So yeah, that song, he brought me, Sandler called and he goes, come down and watch me do the show. And I got something special at the end of my stand-up.
Nice.
And I go, all right, I went down there and I watched it and I go, holy Jesus, that was crazy.
To go from so funny to so sincere with humor in it. Like, and then to tell I love that his daughters are like, who was the funniest one? And Sandler's worked with everyone in comedy.
Hell yeah.
Everyone. And he's like, it's your fucking brother.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude.
He was a goddamn it made you laugh every time.
I moved here in the second time. I came here in 94 for a hot second, went to college, the earthquake hit. I moved back to Baltimore, finished school, come again in 97. At the time I come in 97, I still got a little bit of the Catholic boy I was raised with in me.
Yeah.
And I go by myself. I go to a midnight mass in Beverly Hills, knowing nothing, knowing no one.
Right.
And it happened to be a church that your brother, I guess, when he was here, he would attend.
Oh yeah, the one at it's called
on Wilshire there.
Yeah, was it on Wilshire? Or is it in? It was he went to the one. I forget the name of it. Our Lady of Angels,
or was it Santa Monica?
Santa Monica one. He went to the one in Santa Monica, and he went to the one in Beverly Hills because it was right next to his house.
And I just go in for midnight mass, and your brother had passed not long. I mean. When did he pass? What month?
December 18th, 97.
So it's a week later.
Okay.
It's a week later. 6 days. Technically, I'm at midnight mass.
Right.
And they did a whole special thing for your brother.
Really?
Yeah. They said, he would come here sometimes, and Brother Farley. Like, I was like, whoa, that's really
cool.
Fucking nice to see that moment.
That's really
so
cool.
Look, the questions I do want to ask you is, like, we as a world, we as comedy fans, we as whatever, we lost Chris, the person we saw there. Here.
Yes.
I know grief. I'm from a big family, a lot of deaths.
Oh God, yeah.
Man, talk to me about being brothers with him and what it's like to lose him as a brother, as a person. Your parents are bearing a child. Like, I want to hear about that. So let's start with this. You're all from Wisconsin, right?
All from Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin. And are there just three of you? Do you have sisters? How many
we
kids
have
total?
There's five of us.
Oh, five.
We have it starts with me. I'm the youngest. Then came Kevin. Then Chris was in the middle. And then we have an older brother, Tommy, and our sister, Barbara Ann, who we kind of turned into a boy. So we have five boys.
Okay. All right.
She's the oldest. And for me to Barb is about 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Tommy and Barbara Ann are still back in Madison, Wisconsin. Kevin, whereabouts unknown. Chris is Chris, and then I'm in Pasadena.
Okay. And so what is it like? So, all right. When do you who tells you? Who's the first person to tell you your brother passed?
First person to tell me?
Or call you, or how'd you find out?
Well, I opened the door.
To?
His apartment.
Oh, you found him?
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was the guy. Yeah. I was a guy.
And you went, why? Because we hadn't heard from him in days, and you're going
I was the guard that left his post, I guess, as you could say. I was. So I was living in Chris's apartment, and it was me and Kevin across the street in Bob Newhart's building. You seen the beginning of Bob Newhart? There was a big building in Chicago. Kevin goes, let's move in there. It was 111 East Chestnut. It was really nice. And it was wall-to-wall windows overlooking Michigan Avenue and the lake. Huge, beautiful place. And I go, this is amazing.
And how old are you then?
You're looking at 28, 27.
Okay.
And I got this is like $900 a month or something crazy. I go, this is great. Or $1,100. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, every morning, a jackhammer would be like, shaking the whole, I go, oh my God, they're redoing. That's why we got it for so cheap. And then he went off to LA. He says, I'm not going to make it I'm not going to make it a second city. I'm just going to start acting in LA and live. I'll live out with Chris. So Chris, I go, oh, all right. And I'm looking out the window over at the Hancock building. I go, no one's in Chris's apartment. I'll just take that. So I went over there. I go, can I live in your house, in your place if you're not there? He goes, go ahead. Sure. No worries. So I went over there, but he came back for Christmas in between movies. I think it was just after Almost Heroes. And he was there and I go, fuck, this is, and he liked to go to Chicago to keep the prying eyes off him. And I was like, all right. And my dad goes, Christopher, I know Chicago's difficult because when I pass in from Wisconsin, I see that skyline. It looks like a giant scotch and a sausage dancing. The Sears Tower and the Hancock. I just picture my dad in his Cadillac going over the horizon and seeing the Chicago the sunset or the Chicago skyline, and it's just a scotch bottle and a sausage going, yay, Chicago. So he goes, I know it's tough. And Chris always laughed at that one. And then, so he came back and I go, I'm going to go to, I went to his assistant. I go, can I have his credit card? I'm going over the Four Seasons. So I stayed at the Four Seasons while I went out with him one night and then I was like, that's enough for me. I'm going to.
I wanted to ask you, was it like that? Like when you would go out, you really couldn't keep up?
No, it was, you couldn't.
You couldn't.
You try, and then, you're
a young man, too. That's what I'm saying. You're young, and you can't keep up.
Well, yeah, and also it was like, that's too much. Yeah. When you buy, like, weed, you're like, ooh, I got a little weed. He's, like, getting, like, those gallon bags of, like, I'm like, that's too much. You're going too far. There's no reason for that. What are you going to do with all that?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. So, you try and take stuff away from him so that he wouldn't do it. And then I was like, all right, that strategy's not going to work. So I'm just going to get away. So that's what I did. And then the night he went out, I called him. I said, hey, come on out and we'll go to the Four Seasons. This guy's paying for it. You. And so he goes, no, Johnny, you go ahead. You have fun. Have fun tonight. And I go, all right. So.
And where was he living? Where was that place?
Hancock was across the street. So It was just basically walk across Michigan Avenue. And then so I had to do a rehearsal for Second City, a show at Second City. At 2. So I came back. I go, I got to change my outfit. So I went back over to the apartment. That's where he was. I go, quit screwing around.
No.
Yeah.
Where was he, laying on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor there.
Face down?
Yeah. He was on the floor, face up. And then, you try to do what you got to do to try and revive him. And then it didn't work. And then I'm not going to go far into this one here, but I don't want to go too deep. So
you go as deep as you want.
I know. And then I
did the same thing.
I messed up with the call 911.
Why?
Because that's like alert. No, I guess his assistant was like, Chris Farley's in trouble. We need 911. And I guess every newscaster, everyone, or maybe it was the police, because the police is the one who got us good on that one, the cops. And then there's like,
what do you mean?
Well, there was a bunch of people coming into the room and taking, like coroners, guys in trench coats, plain clothes, regular blue cops. And then I think one of the blue cops, in the uniform, came up and was taking pictures. I don't know who they were. And then they sold them to the Inquirer. I know. And I guess somebody said that later that night, they were at a bar and some cop, a cop came in, in plain clothes, regular now. And he goes, I got photos. I did it. I got the photos of Chris Farley. And I go, oh, that's how it happened? I didn't know that. And
that's fucked up.
I know.
You're your lowest, and people are just coming in and taking advantage of that.
So we went to the Chicago, and they were like 10 years later or 5 years later, and we were like, hey, this happened, and can you? And they're like, I don't know what we're going to do. Never mind. It never went anywhere. I don't know how Kobe Bryant's wife got.
I was going to say the same thing.
I was like, she got like goddamn $3 million.
Yeah.
And I go, can we do that? Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Can we get half?
Okay, can we get something? If a cop took pictures, and
that guy should lose his job for sure.
No shit, but you don't know. Only the Inquirer guy knows. And wasn't he just like summoned with Trump? And he was like, I ain't
is that
saying
even still
shit.
A thing in the Inquirer?
Say shit. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't have to say shit. Nope, not going to tell you. And I'm like, I think it was in the Trump in the Superior Court. So if he can't say anything there, he's not going to tell Who the fuck took
No.
pictures of Chris Farley?
So you walk in, you see him. At what moment do you realize he's gone?
That would be, you're looking at 20 seconds.
I'm
and
guessing
like,
you're
holy
trying
fuck.
CPR or anything like that.
But that was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And by then it would have been like 5 in the morning one. So, yeah.
So do you call 911 yourself? Or
I
no,
had Teddy
you called
do it. Yeah.
Okay.
His assistant, our buddy.
And so his assistant calls 911, and that's when he says who it is.
Yeah. And then I went into the back. Because we'd always if you dropped his name, you'd always get something. Except for when we went to Disneyland, we go, Chris, drop your name and let's get to the front of the line. It was before like those fast passes. And Space Mountain, we went to the front. Chris goes, hey, I'm Chris Farley, and they're like, who? And he came back to the back line and goes, you fuckers. And I go, oh God,
That's that old Paul McCartney sketch.
Yeah. And I go, sorry. You motherfuckers. You know who I was. And I went, oh, sorry. Guess we'll stand in line then. That was the best. So that's
Okay, so they come in, they exploit this shit, obviously.
This shit. Now I'm in the back in the office, in the back office
And
area.
what are you doing? Are you
I have to
calling
call
family?
Dad.
You got to call.
Jesus
That's the
Christ.
first person's dad,
Yeah.
not mom.
Mom and dad, they're
together.
They're together, yeah. So I call them, and then it's OG. Yeah.
What do you
God,
say?
Oh God, no. He's like, hey Johnny, what's going on? How's Chicago? And then I gotta that's the next guy to lead into that. Holy fuck, that was a tough one. So that was bad. And then yeah.
And then do you call your brothers and sister?
Yeah.
So you're the person that called everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, like dad wasn't like, I'll call your brother or anything. Like you just had to do it
Well, no, I could only call dad because this is before cell phones. No one had cell phones.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
97, yeah.
So I don't know where anyone is. So I just called dad, and then everyone found out other ways. And then I went to, the airport and met Kevin, flew in from LA, and the airport put us in a back, that airport's got a lot of different spots for people.
Does it?
Yeah. So, if you're the high monkey marks, Michael Jackson style, you go into you don't go see people. You go to the way back in this room. It's nice and plush. I go, oh, wow. And I go, well, I don't know. We first we hugged, cried, and then we're waiting for the plane. I'm like, well, I guess that's the end of this stuff. Something like that. Looks like no more VIP treatments for us. Thanks a lot, Chris. And at least, because somebody had to make a joke, or you have to. I don't know. In our eyes, it's literally like oxygen for us.
I agree.
And if
I'm
you
16 years old.
you're drowning.
And my dad is dead in a coffin up there.
Yeah.
It's a excused absence from our high school because I have a twin brother.
Uh-huh.
We're, we play all the sports. We're popular kids, and everyone knew my dad. And we had a soccer coach. So many people don't know what to do.
No,
they mean
don't.
well, but they don't know what to say. This is their worst nightmare, you know. And we have adults whose parents are still alive, don't know what to say to a kid that's dad's dead.
Right.
And they're all coming up. If there's anything we can do, if there's anything we do. And my brothers and I just say, because it's a 2-day viewing.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're just going to fucking start asking for, jokingly, we're just going to be like, yeah, could you give us $20,000? And our soccer coach came up to us.
Oh my God.
And he was like a religious, very God-fearing man.
Yeah.
He's like, if there's anything I can do, family man. We were like, is there any way you could give us $20,000? And you just see them, you can see their knees buckling because they don't want to say no.
Jesus. What have they done?
And then we laugh we're just kidding, man. We're just kidding. And they think, oh my God. Oh my God. These
That's
guys are
the best.
mentally ill.
Oh my God. My dad's big joke. Oh my God, that's a good one. My dad's big joke was always when a parent died, he'd be like, there goes Susie's not going to be able to go to the father-daughter dance, it looks like. And I was like, oh my God. It's pretty funny though. And then he died a year after Chris.
Was it only a year?
Yeah, it was less than a year. Yeah, last year was just staring out the window and he didn't really do much. Because it was Chris and Dad.
How old was your dad?
Dad was 63, young.
And
So
I can't imagine what that would do to a father. It would kill him.
that's what it did.
It really did.
Sure.
It took a year.
Took a year, and
How did he die?
Well, he fell. He was a big guy.
Yeah.
A very big guy. And he fell and he ruptured his kidney, and they couldn't do dialysis because he was too big. And they were like, well, that would kill you anyway. Because you got to open you up and put stuff on you or put a So we can't open you up or you'll die. Your kidney's ruptured. You're going to die. So we'll just give you morphine and let you go. And that's how he died. It was
wow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know. It's tough.
So
You see
also-
a sane, normal guy like going, oh, this is getting crazy. And then they just overdosed him with morphine, I think, or, or his kidneys blew out, something.
But as you, in your shoes, you've just literally lost your brother and your father in a year.
Yeah.
Your mom's losing her husband and her son in a year.
I know. That's crazy.
How was your mom with this?
My mom's a goddamn trooper. She's insane.
She still has 4 children she needs to love and take care of as well.
That's why you have a lot of kids, because once a couple of them
Just the
go,
numbers,
you're like, fuck it. Now still got 3. Okay, you guys are up. Who's getting on Larry King next?
Man.
We're like, not me. I can't. Who's going to be the next celebrity? I can't do it. I'm trying. I suck at it. Chris was better than me.
From the trail to the campsite, hydration and energy are key to successful outdoor adventures. Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier Plus Energy delivers 100 milligrams of natural caffeine plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, so you can accomplish all the things you want and need to do. They've combined their popular peach flavor with highly requested blackberry to awaken your senses and keep you coming back for more. Look, I don't care where you go or what you're doing. You need Liquid IV. We're on the road right now. You know we're taking it. We keep it here at the studio, constantly taking it, giving it to people. Liquid IV's been with us for a while, and there's a reason. We love Liquid IV, and you will too. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients to turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Take on the great outdoors with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code HoneyDew at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code HoneyDew at liquidiv.com. Now, let's get back to the do.
Chris would always take these funny bits. Want to check out to Hollywood? You'd always hear like, Lovitz tells a funny story of like, Chris used to do this, take this pillow, and he'd pretend he was making out with it, like he was making out with a girl, and then he'd be like, you stupid, and he'd just start punching it, like, you whore, why'd you whore? And I go, that's my, he's coming out and taking all of our bits from, he'd come back.
Childhood and shit.
And take all our bits from childhood, and then everyone was like, Chris Farley's hilarious. I'm like, nice.
Did he ever, was in a van down by the river?
No, that's all
motivational's all him.
That's all Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, that's Odenkirk. Huh?
He wanted to be Matt Foley.
Oh, he did want to be Matt
And
Foley.
at Second City, because he did it at Second City. And Odenkirk wrote it. And he was like, After he looked at the 5-6 pages, he goes, Chris, why don't you try and be this guy? And it wasn't Matt Foley, I don't think. Because Matt Foley, his father, Matt Foley, Chris's buddy from Marquette. And he played rugby with Chris. And then he went off, became a priest. And he's one of those guys that was like, I'm going to go be a priest in Afghanistan, back in the thick of it. And I was like, oh, geez. He's one of those rugby playing Afghanistan like priests, like, oh.
I've never heard that.
I haven't either. Good looking guy. No kidding. Good looking guy that was, that went off to the USO, went off to the war and came back. And he's like, what's up? He's like, one of those angry, I was like, how is it being a priest? Is it hard? He goes,
In Afghanistan.
Yeah, in Afghanistan. He goes, yeah, it's not easy. There's, a bunch of widows or like women that are all like, oh my God, you're the prettiest, most beautiful priest. There's women all over me, and I can't, I got to be like, I'm a priest. I'm like, oh, it's got to be tough. So, but he was Matt Foley, so I think Chris named it Matt Foley. I don't know how the name Matt Foley, if Bob Odenkirk wrote it, how Matt Foley became the name, because that's Chris's buddy. But Odenkirk was like, fucking Chris is way better at this than me. So I'll play the dad, Phil Hartman's part, and Chris will be Matt Foley, and then we'll get the others to, I don't know who the other 3 were. Spade,
Christina Applegate,
and
the first one.
Jan Hooks.
Phil Hartman. And
Phil Hartman and
I
Jan
think
Hooks.
Jan Hooks was the wife, yeah.
So I don't know who played Janux, but I know Odenkirk was the dad. And so he was like, fuck, that's made for you. And then I think at Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels goes, write down everything that is yours that you've come up with and write down all your bits and those will be yours. And then anything you come up with at Saturday Night Live will be mine. And so Chris is like, guy eats ham sandwich.
Anything
farts,
you can.
Guy, gets out of car and falls. And then he wrote Matt Foley. So he luckily wrote that down. That's kind of nice. But we haven't done anything with it. We haven't done anything. I don't know. My brothers have tried. They've done some documentaries.
What about the actual funeral? Did you do it back
the
in
actual funeral?
Wisconsin, Chicago?
Wisconsin.
You did.
And the only thing I remember about that, I remember, Lauren and Sandler and those guys, they were all gruesome, but they didn't really come up. And my dad was like, I'm going to have, be the pallbearers. Everyone thought it was Sandler, Spade, Rock. And those guys are going to be the pallbearers. He goes, this football team, high school football team.
Fuck
so
yeah,
those
Dad.
Guys, they
That's
fucking were
awesome.
so nice.
They
were like honored and like, this has never happened before. And in front of all the pretty big Hollywood folks coming in on Christmas, flying into Madison, Wisconsin. It was just snowy. It's always snowy and like freezing cold.
God, it's a Christmas
these guys,
funeral.
I know these guys all were Christopher's pallbearers. And it was pretty cool to see that, his high school buddies.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool that Dad did that. And then, the only thing I kind of remember from the funeral, I remember a few things. Well, one was Joel Murray, Bill Murray's little brother, was roommates with Chris at Second City. And Joel's was like, he was the Cheetos guy, like, oh yeah, the Cheetos.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know that.
Chester the Cheeto. So
I never knew that.
He
That's
had
great.
money. And his house was like really nice. His girlfriend at the time it was super nice. And she's like, the nicest people in the world and meticulously decorated apartment. And then you go across the hallway. There's only two. Chris's place. Why always broken glass and throw up? I was like, God damn it. And then socks that he wipe his ass with. I'm like, do you have to? Can't you buy toilet paper, Chris? Just shove it. That's what I had. I didn't have it. I don't know why. I just blamed something else. I don't know. I couldn't get it. So I used a sock. I go, why don't you throw the sock away? No. I have to use that again. There's another side to that sock.
There's a pair.
There's three sides, actually, if you turn it inside out. So Joe Murray goes, hey, your brother played a hell of a first half. And I go, oh, now that's a goddamn cool statement to say. It was a hell of a first half for Chris, as opposed to another guy that came up with like an old like family guy friend that he was like, my condolences, and then walked away. And Kevin,
That's it?
yeah, my brother Kevin goes, what a fucking prick.
The fuck you getting up and saying that to
My
them?
condolences. What the fuck does condolence even
You
mean?
fucking asshole.
I don't want your condolence. What is a condolence, you dumbass? You don't even know what the fucking word means. I don't even know what it means.
How do you, as a brother, as a son to your parents also, how do you like process the grief yourself and then still be strong for your siblings, your dad, your mom? How did you do that?
We thought of the good times and all the laughs, and then we'd always try and find funny stories at the funeral or something. Somebody did something crazy, or we'd always go. I saw at one point it was like where was it? At the funeral parlor area where he was buried, there was a chain link fence and then a big parking lot. And all I saw was these photographers just all over the chain link fence, and they couldn't get it through the gate. And then you see John Goodman, because he wanted to be there, in a trench coat, two bags with him, and just knocking out like, and he came through the fucking photographers, and he came busted through there, and he goes, he just was coming at me like a fucking gangbuster. I'm like, thanks for being here, Mr. Goodman. He goes, all right, no worries. And he went into the funeral place, and I was like, oh wow.
Anyone,
that was cool.
Anyone come that surprised you in a weird way? Any old teachers? Any old?
Oh yeah, they were all there. Yeah.
Really?
all the old Edgewood.
So they really did love you. He's a good dude all the way.
Oh my God, Edgewood High School loved him in Madison, Wisconsin. They were they were showed up in droves. All of Madison did. He was the son of Madison. Everyone was very proud.
Yeah, we got one. This is our guy.
It was our guy. Yeah. And, at Camp Randall, where the Badgers play, they were like inducted him into like the top 100 of all people to don Camp Randall Stadium. But he didn't play football there.
Did he go to college at all? Or
he went to Marquette University.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, and then so he went to Marquette, and I think he got kicked out for a semester. No, he didn't get kicked out for that. He had to go for a semester. I don't know if it was because he burned his girlfriend's house down or
did he do that?
I think he threw a tombstone pizza on a girl accidentally.
I feel like
accidentally. So I think his buddy was
I would intentionally throw the pizza and accidentally burn the house down. You know?
He was like, "Can I see that pizza?" He's like, "No, it's cooling on the window." Chris goes, "I'll bet I can hit that girl," and he threw it and it went down like a frisbee. I know. It was like 10 yards left, 10 yards right, 10 yards forward, 10 yards back, and then landed on her head. And she's like, I'm fucking scalding hot tombstone pizza. You know what that does to your feet? And they were like, holy fuck, cheese on her face. And she's like, and they like fucking shut the window, turn the lights up, and they hid there. And they go, and she could just hear, Chris Farley, I know, like 9 floors down. He's like, fuck, we're in trouble. And then he got out of that one. And then he burned his girlfriend's house down by, they were going to a rugby game and somebody had smoke bombs in the car. He goes, I'm going to throw a smoke bomb in Katie's window. It'd be hilarious. She's going to come home and her whole room would be filled with smoke. Caught the drape on fire and burned like half the top part. And like Kevin is like, or no, Dad's favorite line was like, we had to go with insurance. It made us go to make sure that these were all Katie's things. And then like Chris and my dad were like going through all the burnt stuff. He grabbed a pair of underwear and he goes, yeah, that's Katie's. My dad, like, instead of being mad, he goes, that was a good one. That's fine.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's the way we grew up to it.
That's a fucking good one. That's a good one. So, so he, but Madison loved him. At the funeral, they would give, speeches, or they'd come up and they'd give heartfelt, like, not only like my condolences. There was a couple of those.
That's wild.
Those are hilarious. There's a couple like, man, you'd have to console them. You're like, hey, it's all right. Yeah, I know. It sucks. And then when we got into private, we'd always make, we'd make jokes to ourselves and things like that. Bits like, that's mine. I'm taking that. Stupid stuff. But or else did you see Mrs. We'd always make Mrs. So-and-so. We used to go to our grandmother's nursing home, and Chris would be like, he thought he was a goddamn Pied Piper. I was like, let's just go see Donnie, and then we'll go. He goes, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll do. So we went in there. We went, hi, Donnie. We'd say hi. And then walking out, he'd look in a room, and there'd be like an old lady staring out the window. He goes, hang on. I go, oh. When you hear that, you're like, fuck, we're screwed. And he went in to like, he'd go, the last one he did, the last time we went into our nursing home he went into this lady's room and she was staring out the window, and he came around the corner, came around to her eyesight. Hi, I'm Chris. What's your name? She's a mute or something's wrong. I go, Chris, she's not responding. Let's just go. Let's go. Nice to see you, everything. And we start walking out and she just goes, screaming down the hallway. And we're like, oh, fuck. You just woke up. Like,
you did, dude.
Yeah. I was like, oh, fuck. So we had to do that. And then we had to put one of our friends' grandmother. They're like, we're going to take her home for Thanksgiving. And Chris, me, and Kevin had to take this a bigger woman that was our friend's, like, next door neighbor's grandmother. And we had to get her into a van, like one of those Econo vans. So it's way up there. And we're like digging. We're blasting this
I was
old
going to
woman.
say, you got hands on her
it's
hands.
literally like It's a ball of slime in a fucking tutu, a moo-moo. And I'm like, fingers up there, and got her finally in the car. And she just looked out the passenger window smiling like, thanks, boys. I'm like, that's creepy. I'm going to go wash my hands. Chris is like, good God. I think I fingered that lady. I definitely fingered that lady. And she leaned into it.
Oh, man.
God damn. Those are some good ones. Yeah. So, I mean, it was all little bits, fun bits that it was an experience to hang out with Chris because you never know what you'd get.
You realize how lucky you are that you had him as a brother.
Oh, God. Yeah. I came home one time as a little younger kid, and Chris was at Marquette College, high school or university. And I see Christopher pounding on our window. And we lived on the lake. And it was a big, like 100-foot cliff, and it went off into the lake. And I see Chris pounding on our window, going, "Mom, no, that's not mine. It's not mine. You're gonna owe me $30." Like not mine. Like I don't know where it came from, but not mine. You're gonna owe me $30. Yeah. And I go, what the fuck? I look out the window and I see my mom going down the back lawn with a fucking 5-foot bong. And she was like, and hucked it off into the lake. And I go, you're mad at mom? You're not hiding? She's going to tell dad, you're fucked. And he's like, man, it's not mine. And I got to pay for that now. I'm like, okay. I go, God damn, Chris, you're crazy. But we had the best time with that. And then before Second City, before all of it, he would work for my dad, and he wanted to go to, he started doing like improv at the Arc, which is a laundromat. And the Dennis Kern was the guy that, taught Joan Cusack and John Cusack. So he knew improv, knew what it was. Mm-hmm. And so he went and did shows there with Brian Stack. Brian Stack went to University of Wisconsin, and he wrote later for Conan, all of Conan shit. He's that big, tall, curly redheaded guy. And he was very like dry, like hello, apathy. He wrote one bit was like apathy, and Chris was fucking crazy. And the last show Chris did was for like a lesbian unity group, that it was just a room full of lesbians and Chris. And I go, this is going to go wrong 17 ways a Sunday. And he like tiptoed on the line. And then it was like, I don't know, maybe they're all lesbians. That's why they don't like me. And they're like, maybe I'm fat. I don't know. But whatever it was, whatever bits he was doing, the room loved him.
They did.
He could fucking turn anyone. He would turn anyone into a fan, which is crazy good.
That is.
Because he could find the bits that he could find in like an improv, you could always find the reverse side of what the reality is. Christopher was the genius of that. Of like, there was a guy that with my dad that was bragging about his son who was he was in Moscow and he was learning Russian, and he's living in Moscow teaching a course at the Moscow University. And Christopher was like, you got a commie on your hands, I see. Jesus, I'm sorry about that. And the dad was like, I'm very proud of him.
Shit all over.
And my dad goes, oh my God. Yeah. So he could always find the reverse side of like, instead of being like jealous, like, yeah, that kid is doing really well. He's teaching. And Christopher's like, he's got a commie. You've got a dirty commie on your hands.
Commie on your hands.
And he was like, no. So he'd always find something funny.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to ask if you were surprised that he passed, but were you trying to help him throughout that? Was it a struggle or?
Yeah, we all were.
I mean, was it interventions, things like that? Or like, what did you guys do to try to
he went through he went through a lot of,
but I mean, privately within the family.
Privately within the family. At
like
first,
that.
we didn't know what the hell to do. We're like, you go to rehab when there's still booze, and we're like drinking Heineken in front of him.
He's like,
go. You better go. So we're
Dad's telling you it's sauce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we had no clue how it worked. We're like, hey, what the hell's that?
No clue. Nobody in the family before or anything like that?
No, we didn't know. Yeah, we did. It was the 80s and 90s.
Oh, I hear you.
Pate. And so we're like, oh, you better go. I think I think Lorne Michaels made him go first because he picked up a senator. It was like, yeah, Senator Dodd was like, hey, buddy. Woo. Yeah, it was like throwing him around. And Lauren's like, he just picked up a United States senator, threw him around the room. So that's when he first went. And then we didn't know what it was. And so we were still like, well, Christopher's under control. We're all have fun now. Well, you got to like at least have sympathy and, understand. It's not like that problem's over. So then we figured it out and we were like, all right, we'll be more sensitive. And my dad would even like, Chris is like, I'm going to stay down at a hotel. My dad was like, I'll go down there and stay with you. I got a room next to you. So he would do that. And we'd always try and be around him. We'd never leave him except me at the end there. I did, which was, I know you can't blame yourself. Because no, because he's 33 and you figure strong as an ox. And I've never heard of, we weren't doing like needle drugs.
Yeah. That's the same thing I think too. Yeah. Like that, like those are real. Yeah.
That's the real stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think there was a time when it was like GHB or something like that. You ever seen that? I don't know what it is. It's basically like, I took it once. I tried it. And it's basically like a whippet. You know what a whippet,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it makes you feel like that for like, so long. I don't know how long, but it slows your heart. And then he did his regular blow and weed. And I think the combo platter of like, I'm going to slow your heart down. And then I'm going to.
Is that what the actual cause of death was?
I was like, he had blocked arteries. Let's face it. There was quite a bit of red meat in the family.
Yeah.
He had a couple blocked arteries, but I think it was that combo.
Can we also give the motherfucker credit too? Like one of the biggest men I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Who was wildly light on his feet.
Oh my God.
Agile, athletic. Yeah. Like, I feel like he could have been like a goddamn all-pro offensive lineman to be a man that big and that agile on his feet and shit. That Chippendale sketch will forever be.
Wasn't that fucking great? He did.
Forget about how funny it is for a second.
Mm.
The way he moves in that thing is just incredible.
I know.
It's incredible.
At Marquette University, he had to take electives. He didn't know what electives. I didn't know what electives. So he goes, I'll take ballet, I guess. So he took ballet for a whole semester. And the ballet teacher was like, he's amazingly graceful. I don't get it. Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think it was, it had to have been, he loved dancing. And we'd just watch rerun on What's Happening.
What's Happening?
It was like, fucking, he loved reruns.
He could do reruns.
He had the fucking suspenders.
Did he really?
Loved the suspenders. And he just watched him because rerun had the fucking moves.
Yeah, he had the moves.
Jesus, that guy, as big as he was, could move like that. Chris is like, all right, I can do that. But he loved football. So, he always get low to the ground. He could center his weight really well. Yeah, good story. I'll give you one more good story, Chris.
Please.
So he was our buddy Skirmels. I don't know. I think it was Skirmels. He was going to max out in the lifting and benching, and Chris goes, "I'll spot you. I'll spot you." Skirmels, okay. So Chris goes, "All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3." Gets the weight up, and Chris puts his ball sack on his forehead. And Scrabbles just goes, clink, clink. And they went left. All weights went off left and right. He goes, ah! And he goes, what happened?
What happened is the best. What happened is the best.
Oh, God damn, that's hilarious. I was like, you did that? And probably that was somebody's most vulnerable state. Maxing out, lifting, benching.
Balls on your
with
face.
Just right on his forehead. He's like, the hell's that? God damn.
I love that shit.
That shit's fucking funny to me.
Shit, yeah.
And then everyone's like, what do you think Chris would do in this Me Too generation stuff? I go, he knew his way around. He could get his way around it. There was one where a lady had a baby with huge breasts. And Chris
This a real story?
Yeah, real story.
Okay.
Chris took the baby's hand and started like touching her boob. Like, you like that? You like that? Chris wasn't touching it. The baby was. She goes, Chris. I go, oh my God. How do you explain that? Like, you're trying to I'm going to take him to court. Did he touch you? No. but he had a baby touch me. I don't get it. The judge would be like, what? It's stories like that. You wouldn't know how to fucking answer. You don't know how to like, how do you fight? And like, I don't know how to respond to what Chris does.
Do you do anything as a family to remember him? You do a yearly thing? Do you share stories? Is there anything you do, in honor of or anything like that?
We do. It's at Christmas. We always there's one time I didn't have a Christmas present for Chris, and so I didn't know. I was like, I fucking don't have a Christmas present. So I went around the house and I found for some reason my brother had little girls. I found Barbie dolls in the one of the closets upstairs. So I was like, all right, grab the Barbie dolls. I grabbed an old shoebox, and then I went to the kitchen and grabbed a bunch of knives. And I just put Barbie dolls' knives in a shoebox and wrapped it up. And I go, Merry Christmas. And he opened it up and he started laughing his ass off. Thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. My dad's like, I don't get it. The hell's that? What kind of present is that? And I go, I don't know. It was funny. Knives and Barbie dolls. That's funny. I don't get it. I go, I didn't have a present. You, Dad. I wouldn't have a present. So every year we try and give like somebody like a fucking ridiculously weird present to see, because you always miss that laugh of Chris's. It was the best cackling laugh that he'd have the fucking great ones. God damn. He did I'll tell you, this is a doozy. I don't know if it's a good one, but he one time, his assistant is a buddy of ours. And I'm sorry if I'm going to tell the story, Teddy, but it was funny. He was in the trailer and he goes, Teddy, my sink has got something stuffed up. And I dropped my thing in there. Can you get my, I don't know what it was, like a pen or something. Get that out of there. And it's all stuffed up. He reached into the sink of the trailer and pulled up like shit. And he goes, what the fuck is this? And he goes, you grabbed my shit. And he grabbed my shit. And then he went outside and started laughing, and all the crew, he's like, Teddy went into my fucking sink, reached in there and pulled out a poo of mine. And the whole cast was like, how'd the poo get in there? He goes, I put it in there. Wait, you shit in your hand, put poo into the sink, and then I just to go pull it out. He goes, yeah. He goes, why would you grab your own shit? He goes, because it was funny. It's funny. He was like, God damn. So
was he like that as a kid, like just fucking around all the time?
Yeah.
You all seem to be. You all seem to have that same vibe.
We'd all be sitting quietly, Kevin doing homework always, me sitting watching TV or messing around with Evel Knievel or Hot Wheels. And he'd come in full fucking combat gear, face with charcoal from the fireplace. And he goes, let's go window peeking. We're like, what? Let's go window peeking. So we fucking, I don't know if he got it from Animal House.
You would go?
We'd be like, all right. So we'd go fucking through the woods. I think we did it once or twice because there was a hot chick at the top of the hill. And we go, let's go look in there. So we'd go looking around and we go, we see her. But then we'd see the lights come on. It was like, let's run. He'd always make it exciting. Like, run. You have to run through the woods. And that was a fun time. But he was never settled.
So how many children are in your family now?
5 of us.
5? No, I'm sorry. How many kids do you all have?
Oh, me? I have 3.
You have 3?
Yeah.
And how many
Tommy's
more?
got 3. Kevin's got dogs.
6.
And
so
Barbara
far.
Ann has not been married. So she's
so 6
grandchildren.
And how do you tell them who their uncle
I know
was?
Tommy's one of the older ones. So Tommy's kids got to meet Chris, and there's pictures with him. And so they knew him. My kids didn't know him, but they watch videos and stuff like that. And they, the oldest boy is wondering why the football coach is like, "Hey, what's up?" I go, "Well, they're fans and stuff. There's some fans." But now my boy just went off to Marquette, so we'll see how that goes.
He's going there too. Huh?
Yeah, he went to Marquette, so that's going to be kind of fun to see. So yeah, they didn't really know him as much as Tommy's kids did. But Harry and Rowan, Harry's at Marquette and he was a football player. So we'll see. He was going to go play rugby like Chris did. Chris played rugby at Marquette.
It's a big man playing rugby right there.
Yeah. You know what? You think he was big, but like I did have one of the leather coats, like a nice Roots coat. And my brother, I go, it's pretty cool, but I mean, it's California. I don't wear leather coats that much. 90s. So now it's not the 90s anymore. Nobody's walking around in leather jackets. I thought it was kind of cool. But Kevin goes, let me have it. I go, all right, here it is. And Kevin goes, sweet Jesus, it doesn't fit. I go, how the fuck did Chris fit into this? I go, I don't know. But it doesn't fit you. You're fatter than Chris. You fatty. He goes, fuck you. I'm not that fat. I go, jacket says different. So I don't know if he was as big as he was kind of big, but at the end he was big. But from Tommy Boy, from Saturday Night Live, the beginning of Saturday Night Live to like Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, a little bigger, Beverly Hills Ninja, yeah, that got big. And then Edwards and Hunt, I think he slimmed down a little bit. I'm not sure though. He might have been still pretty big. But Beverly Hills Ninja, he was pretty big.
I still do it all the time. It's one of those things that gets burned in my head from old movies. But
yeah,
when he chases the guy into like the Benihana or whatever, and he's doing the and he's just, I do it to my daughter all the time. I just go rip. Yeah, I just flick shrimp at her.
That's from that story of Katie Murnane's panties.
I love it.
When he sniffed that shrimp, that's kind of basically how he did it. So you'll find little bits in his movies of how he would act. He'd be like, yeah, see? He'd always have funny little bits. So, yeah, he did.
What do you miss about your brother the most? What do you miss personally about your brother the most?
Oh, his hugs were the best.
Yeah,
hey, Johnny.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, goddamn. He'd always give hugs and his laugh were the best. He was great at that. And then we'd have fun. Just the fun we'd have of doing different little crazy shit with him, and then once he got like where he was, the bits could go even farther. So we could be, we go over to his hotel and he'd be like, let's go. We're going to, let's go on Tonight Show tonight. Like, who fucking says that? Okay. All right. Let's write a bit. Packer's going to be on. So they asked me and I said, we'll get you guys on. We'll all do it together. So it was like, fuck, I was going to go eat dinner and go to bed. I'll do the Tonight Show, I guess. Yeah. So, I was just gonna sit by the pool, or I don't know, I was on vacation. So, but he'd always have fun little things. Let's go do this, and then it'd always be a crowd. And if there wasn't a crowd, he'd get mad and make a crowd.
He'd drum it up.
He'd fall down or something. And then he'd get all these people. But if they were always around him, they'd be like, "Fuck, these people are all over me. I fucking hate it." You do not. But it was always fun that. If no one recognized him, he'd be like fall down in like a mall or something, or he'd definitely fall down. That was his big one. That one. And he'd always have, anytime he interacted with somebody new, he'd have the fucking most baffled look on their faces of like, what do you want me to do? Here's one last good one. There's more, but my dad worked for the Maple Bluff police and fire, and you have to do the checks, sign the checks for him. And Chris was a lifeguard one summer because he had to take summer school courses at University of Madison, but he was a lifeguard. And my dad, the leader of the lifeguards, she was like, go down and get a basketball, Chris, and sign for it for the Maple Bluff. And Chris goes, all right, Johnny, let's go. And I got in the car and we drove down to Cops, I think it was called COPPS. And on the Cops, and he got the basketball, going to the checkout, and he takes a left. And I go, where are you going? Went to the little girls' panties section, grabbed a pair of little girls' panties, put them on the register, checked out. I go, that's going on Maple Bluff. Dad's a part of the police. Dad's going to sign that. He has to okay that. Because he's the board member of, he's like, well, don't worry. He's going to be wondering why little girls' panties are being bought by the Maple Bluff Beach. And then he gets back, sticks them on a pitchfork and writes the girl's name on it and in red ink, and then puts red all in there. And what the fuck? Who thinks of that shit? Just supposed to buy a basketball, for God's sake. How do you go from buying a basketball to taking a pair of underwear on a pitchfork and writes the girl's name and then puts red on there? And then she was like, that's not funny. Drew the line there and got in trouble. But I was like, fuck. So any kind of goddamn errand you did, something happened.
Is there anything you have of his that you just love? A necklace, anything?
Yeah, I always
small?
have. We used to love to go to State Street in Madison, Wisconsin, and there would be like a Army surplus store, or there was like a Grateful Dead store, and they'd have these friendship bracelets. You ever seen? You look at pictures of Chris. He'd always have all these bracelets on his wrists, and they're all just like friendship bracelets or shit he'd buy on State Street. So he'd always have a friendship bracelet on, or there's his headshot actually has my dad's the guy that worked with my dad, one of the salesmen worked for my dad. His son started like Noah's Ark. Yeah, the Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff. So Wisconsin Dells had all these fucking water parks. It's like the king of water parks. So we had the Noah's Ark, and he's got like the hospital-looking wristband that says Noah's Ark, like pass. And that's his headshot.
Nah,
Yeah,
that's what
you
it's
look. And I was like, Brad Pitt and those like Lenny Kravitz have like, these are beads from like, the Buddha, Dalai Lama. Chris has got Noah's Ark.
That's fucking
Like in
great.
his fucking, so I like the, he had a little keepsake box where he had a bunch of some of his old friendship bracelets. And during the funeral, I went down there and I bought 3. So I gave one to Kevin, me and Chris, because he always gave me and Kevin these friendship bracelets. But by the time he was like, those are gay.
Those are
like,
gay.
Wait a minute. No, they're cool. So I stuck one in his sleeve, in the casket. And then I gave Kevin and me the same ones and we framed it.
That's
That was kinda
nice.
cool. Yeah.
That's nice.
So that's the one thing I do like of Chris's.
Is your mom still alive?
Yep, mom's
She
still
is.
kicking, 88.
How has she done with this over the years?
She's a
your
goddamn
dad,
trooper.
That's what I'm saying. You said it took your dad just really in the
Yeah.
year was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But mom stuck
Mom
around.
is she's the queen bee. Yeah, she's the.
Did she ever remarry or?
She dates a guy,
Yeah.
he's an
That's
older
fine.
fella.
Companionship.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
why be alone?
No way. Yeah, she's a nice. Yeah, and they go, he's my companion. And I was like, all right, that's fine. You can call
Whatever,
it
it's
that.
her business.
Well, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want to know what's going on.
I don't need to know either.
But,
I don't
but they
need
have their
to.
house. He has his house, but she comes down and cooks him dinner.
That's nice.
Stuff
Whatever
like that.
works
They go
for
to the
them.
country club and they go, she goes, I'm quitting the country club. I'm not paying that. I'll use his. So they go up there and I go, does that mean I can't go to the country club?
Yeah,
Does he still have his
am I
golf
out?
membership? Can I use that? So we, that's fine. But she's, nicest goddamn woman in the world. Because she she knows how to tune things out very well. Like our boys are saints. Oh, boys. There's one guy, he goes, your mother's the only mother I know that we went up to a trip in northern Wisconsin just for fun. Boys trip up there. The only mother I know that would give us cigarettes, a case of beer, and a bunch of fireworks. She goes, and with the sweetest tone, like, here you go, boys. Here's your care package.
Here you go.
And my friend looked through the bag. He was like, fireworks, cigarettes, and booze? Your mom's the greatest goddamn mom in the world. So, yeah, she's like, oh, I don't know. They're fun. They're good people, good boys. I'm like, good boys? We've smashed like 15 cars, I think, easily 15, like 5 each, or 3, some 5. I was 5. Chris was 5. Chris one time smashed a car and my dad was like, what happened? He goes, I don't know. I remember a boat going by though. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And pulled out onto the freeway. Guy rear-ended him and it dislodged his boat.
And it went by.
Chris was like, that's a boat.
That's okay.
And he just kept going, took off.
Oh,
I
man.
was like, holy Jesus.
Listen, thank you for coming here and doing this. I genuinely appreciate this.
Hell yeah.
Please, I'm going to ask you advice you'd give to your... let me do that first.
All right.
Advice you'd give to 16-year-old John Farley. Let's do that.
Advice you give to 16, definitely don't take a fucking casket and show it to your dad and say it's his dad. I dug him up. Don't do that. But that was 8. So 16, I would have to say, 10 and 2. Drive safe.
7 and 2. You're the first person.
Don't drive crazy. Yeah, my 16-year-old, if I could literally, your take, go back to 16, I'd be like, watch December 18th, tell Chris to watch out and buy Apple stock.
Buy Apple stock.
When
Wait,
you
I do
are-
have one more
all right,
question for you.
Amazon.
You get 24 hours with your brother today.
Yes.
What do you do?
Is he already dead?
He's coming back for 24 hours.
That's it?
He's been gone. You get 24 hours and then you don't see him ever again.
Oh my God. What do we do?
What are you doing in that 24 hours? He's showing up in an hour and you're going to have 24 hours to spend with him and then he's gone again.
I'd say, give me every goddamn bit you have. What's Tommy Boy 2 about? For God's sakes, tell me.
What's Tommy Boy 2 about?
Jesus Christ, help me here.
That's fucking great.
Well, how did you do Shrek? Can I have the Shrek, the ending to Shrek?
I heard that originally that was for him, wasn't it?
That was. He
It
wrote
was.
it all. I got like a book.
Wait, he wrote Shrek?
No, I mean, they wrote
okay.
it for him.
Yeah.
I got a book of, he went out with the animators and they go, crazy times. They were all like, Jeffrey Katzenberg must have been like, what's going on here? He was trying to start this company. And there's I have a leather binder of all old animated like Shrek stuff. And he must have gone out to dinner with them, made them all laugh. He goes, we didn't get much work done because you made us laugh, but here's some funny sketches. And there's one funny one where Shrek is on the toilet and then he's holding up a Playboy with a girl with 3 tits. And it's pretty funny. And he's got like a whole thing, but he had like, I don't know, I'd say 4 sessions left. He'd been doing it for 2 or 3 years.
That's what I heard.
And
yeah.
every time you go to LA, he'd be like, I got to do this goddamn Shrek thing. I don't know what the fuck this is. I've got to go to Santa Monica and you guys hang out and I'll just do this voice for, I don't know, I'll do it for an hour and a half and then we'll go out after that. So nobody knew what Shrek was, but I guess it was a book and they liked Chris for it. And so they did that and it was almost done. And then they had to scrap. Somebody said they wanted me to finish it because I sounded like him back in the day. I don't know if I do anymore, but I go, but it was like 2 weeks afterwards. I go, I didn't know what it was either. I go, I don't want to do it. Nah, it's too.
But also 2
too
weeks
raw.
later too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's
Way too raw. Now I'd be like, fuck yeah. Where are those pages? Give me the goddamn pages now.
I'll sit on the call.
No shit. I would definitely. I will stand on that coffin going, nah. Fiona.
Thank you for doing this, John.
Hell yeah,
Farley.
man.
One more time, promote the movie. Tell everybody about it again, please.
You've got to go. It's called Meet Me Where I Am, and it's a grief thing. So if you're struggling, if somebody died, pet, human, anything, and you're like heartbroken, and you're like, what am I going to do now that it's gone? Watch this movie because, yeah, I'm kind of basically a moron when it comes to all that because I just make them laugh. But there are some like legitimate people that really help out, and they've got some good advice for you. And they've got, you're not alone. And so you have me. You've got wow, God damn it, Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport.
Is it Michael Rapp? No, that's not the guy. Anthony Rapp. God damn it.
Dude,
Fuck, I was gonna say his
threw a
name.
lot of letters.
Anthony Rapp, me, and there's some doctors. Then you've got so it helps out. I think I don't help much. I'm baffled. You're baffled, aren't you, by it? So I try and figure it out and
daily.
yeah. And then
But man, what you said resonated like a son of a bitch. How long are you going to be alive? That's all, how long is that person going to be dead? That's
No
how long
kidding.
you're going to grieve. Like
I know.
fuck yeah.
I know. So
yeah, and
I
it
mean,
finds its way into your day even when you're not trying to be intentional about it.
yeah.
You ever get that? Cry at the grocery store because you hear
Fucking
a song that
Sandler's
comes on.
goddamn song.
Yeah, that.
Goddamn song.
That.
I love it so much
It's
though.
so good. I'm gonna
It's
watch
so
it again.
good. But yeah, you listen to it and you're like, God damn it, Adam.
Well,
So-
thank you, man. Thank you very
Thank
much. And as always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media, ryansickler.com. Go to my website. Come see me on tour. If you're in town when I'm around, all dates are on my website. Just go there, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to y'all next week.